Thank you for joining, guys. We have here with us some of our clients, some of our partners. We picked this hour because we have people from all over the globe, so it's different hours for everyone. For us, it's 6 o'clock p.m. In Israel. Some of you, this is we'll say good morning. Some of you, good night. Appreciate all of you for taking the time to join us today. We'll give it one more minute. We'll start with a little video just to kill some time, and by the end of that, we'll start. Okay, so I think we can begin. So good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Tal Otan, and I'm honored to speak with you as the new CEO of the company, a role that I stepped into earlier this year. Before we begin, please know that this session is being recorded and will be shared with all participants after the meeting. Feel free to revisit the content and to share it with your colleague who couldn't attend live today. Since stepping into this role, my mission has been clear: to lead the company into the next phase of growth, while preserving our strong technological DNA and deepening our expertise in SAP and AI. The goal for 2025 are ambitious but focused. Drive innovation, maintain leadership in technology, expand our presence in the local market, and strategically enter new markets, with US at the top of the list. To support this vision, we've been actively growing our team and strengthening our infrastructure. Many of you are already familiar with the talented leaders joining me today. Avi Mishan, our co-founder and a Chief Innovation Officer. Shai Sinai, the Chief Technology Officer. Dan Shkrek, our newly appointed Chief Marketing Officer. And our value partner, Avi Tawil. This year has been about depth and foundation building. We've worked hard to refine our identity, strengthen the core product, and launch meaningful technologies enhancement that brings real value. Some of you may already notice we started with the user experience, a refreshed interface, a recognized layout for tools and content, and more intuitive experience overall. Later today, Dan will walk you through these changes and give you a glimpse of what's coming next. Just a couple of weeks ago, we had the opportunity to present the new version of our product, including its redesigned interface and the new feature at the SAP Sapphire in Orlando. Over the course of 3 days, we ran dozens of live demos to customers and potential partners. The feedback were overwhelmingly positive and confirmed that we're on the right track with both the product and a broader vision. So let's talk about AI for a minute. As with many organizations today, we're not asking whether to use AI. We're asking how to use it effectively. How do we implement AI in a way that creates real business value without compromising control, security, or stability? To help us navigate this, we've partnered with Ori Abramov, a seasoned SAP expert and a trusted advisor with years of hands-on experience delivering practical AI solutions. Ori's role is to make sure our AI development are technically sound, seamlessly integrated, and grounded in real-world needs. Later in the session, Shai, our CTO, We'll share more about the technical and operational sides of this work. The new Fiori interface. As part of our focus on improving SAP user experience, we've put significant effort into simplifying the transition from classing SAP GUI to UI5. SAP promotes this shift, but for many organizations, it's slow, costly, and complex. We believe there's a better path. Avi will present our solution later today, and we'll walk you through how Insight Zap makes that transformation dramatically easier, faster to build, simple to use, and fully aligned with SAP's UX strategy. For those of you who are not familiar with our development methodology, let me briefly share the framework that helps us focus on Agile. It's called 3-8-200 approach. 3, core development, high impact objects that drive product and technology forward. 8, secondary features based on directly customer insights, feedback, and requests. And 200, fixes and improvement, small but essential. Updates that sharpen the user experience and improve system stability. This method keeps us balanced, combining strategy with execution and vision with real-life feedback. So let's get started and dive in. Let's explore the product, experience the new development, and take a look at the future of SAP can be because of us. The future starts here. So we will start with Zappy AI. This is our AI model, and I will let Shai, our CTO, to talk a little bit about it. Shai, please.
Thank you, Tal, and hello, everyone. Today I will talk about our AI solution. So I'm sure that most of you have already experienced with the AI in your daily work, but the question to answer today is how we handle and set AI in our enterprise. This new era of AI brings with some challenges. Most of them are more important to enterprise solutions, and we will cover some of them. The first one is the continuous synchronization. Most of the AI solutions require external tools, which require synchronization of the data and exporting it from SAP to external systems. The problem is that it requires an ongoing live synchronization and also monitoring it 24/7 to make sure that it works flawlessly. The second challenge is the data exposure. Since we replicate the data out of SAP, we must make sure it is secured so there won't be any data leakage. Next is the scalability. Basically, those AI solutions offered now are not scalable at all. That means that if you've built one scenario for one process, you'll have to build it again from scratch for your next process. So if, for example, you build an AI process for your sales team, on the next time you want to replicate it for purchasing, you'll need to build it from scratch again and again. Last, and in my own opinion, is the most important one, is the access control issue. We want to make sure that the AI solution doesn't bypass any authorizations and security concerns. By the way, this is one of the most pressing issues in the AI in general today, and there isn't yet any best practice for it. In our solution, we want to make sure that the user is able to use AI and get data only for the data is already allowed to see right now. So in our solution, the Zap AI, we solve it with two modules. The first one is the Ask AI. The Ask AI is our solution for end users. It allows end users to quickly ask questions, get queries, and get insights about the data they see in the report. It is important to mention that the access control is strictly enforced. Since the AI is based on the data they display right now in the Insight Creator, they won't be able to get any data they shouldn't be exposed to. Again, in addition, when they ask any question, there's a prompt validation that makes sure that the data is valid and that doesn't bypass any safety measures. Only uh, about a little about the architecture, when the end user asks the AI a query, only the metadata and the question is being sent to the AI engine itself. The data of the report is being saved locally in a local database. That means that we don't expose all the data to external AI engines. Only we use them only to analyze the question, translate the question into SQL query, and then get back the answer to the end user. This covers the first module for end users, and our second module is the Gen AI module. This one is a module that is aimed for our insight makers, which means the designers, and it allows them to do almost many of the things they used to do manually, now with just in AI with natural language. That means they can create columns, create charts, create KPIs, and much more just by querying the AI and ask it to do whatever they want. That makes their work much more efficient, fast, and allow them to build very complex scenarios in a matter of minutes. This is our I talked about, and I will forward it to Avi Mishan to demonstrate it and show it in live, how it looks in our system. Go ahead, Avi.
Thank you, Shai. So let me build an initial creation based on ME to N. So as you can see, a new button has been added to the panel, AI, which is Ask AI entry point. Clicking the button will open a chat window, okay, with our Zappy. And there, as mentioned, I can question the AI about data I can see in front of me. Let's start with a warm-up question. How many vendors are in the report? Okay. And here is the answer. Let us check it. And indeed, in this report, there are 313 records with unique 56 vendors. So let's try to challenge it with a slightly more complex question. Okay. In terms of a total net price, what are the 5 top vendors? And we got the list of top 5 vendors, and this is getting interesting. Let's ask it to show the data in the form of a chart, okay? In a second. Draw me a bar chart of the number PO items per currency.
Excuse me,
Oh,
while Zappy is busy, I was wondering, is it sensitive to misspellings by accident? It doesn't
no,
look like it.
no.
No.
And let,
Very cool. Happy to answer those questions, but we have a session at the end of this session for questions and answers. Okay.
So guys, it looks good, right? At this point, as a user, I ask myself, wait a minute, this chart could be very useful. Why should I ask the AI to draw me this chart every single day? So I turn to the creator, to the designer of this report, and I ask him, draw me this chart. And here is the interesting part. Creators have their own AI engine that helps them build processes using AI. It's called Gen AI, and you can switch to it directly from this screen or using the designated button. Obviously, the AI does not provide me with any additional authorization I didn't have to start with, right? So let's ask this one to add a chart, okay? I'm asking the very same question. Add a chart, a bar chart of the number of PO items per currency. And as you can see, now this one is an actual Insight chart that was created, and it will reappear every time we will invoke this creation, and it will always stay updated according to the data, right? So let's try adding a new text column for the material group. Add a text column for the material group color. And again, needless to say, this model is language agnostic, right? In fact, this model is also eliminates much of the SAP specific knowledge usually required to build interesting process screens. For example, add a DB lookup column of the vendor from the PO header DB table. And here it is. Let me show you the outcome. See, I didn't tell it which table to use, and I didn't tell it how to join the key tables, the key fields. It just did it on its own. That's it from my end.
Thank you very much, Avi. Guys, I don't know about you, but I find it very exciting. Okay, so the next thing will be the SAPUI5. We have a version 2, and I would love Avi Tawil to take us through the process of making a decision about that. Avi, please.
Hi, everyone, and thank you, Tal. I hope by the end of the 4 slides that I'm going to show you, that you will be able to, that I will be able to help you to cut Fiori build time from days and sometimes weeks even to few minutes. In this version, we made an effort to bring our Fiori functionality to a new level. So basically, why Fiori? Why to go to this direction? And to put so much effort in this. Basically, the reason is that SAP leaves us no other option. SAP themselves are pushing to this direction, and the whole world is going to a better UX direction. So, and that force us to make fast decision upon our data. SAP currently, and this is the big issue, that they leave us with. SAP is doing a huge effort to convert their own reports to Fiori, while they expect the customers to do all the exhausting job by themselves. If any of you were a part of a project of developing application of a Fiori application or report, you should be familiar with the difficulties such as long development, lack of knowledge, and above all, the very high cost. Those three things are making all of this difficult. So why Insight Zap with Fiori? What brings why to use Insight Zap with Fiori? What the benefits? What actually Insight Zap is giving you in this field of Fiori applications? In this version, in the V2 version, we came up with a new version. We improved the look and feel, the UX part. We made a very great effort on that, and we built a dashboard that shows us instantly all the things that the user needs to know, the manager needs to see, such as charts and groups and KPIs, summarizing the data exactly how we want to see it. The users can get conclusions based on the data faster, but don't worry about the regular table. It's still there and it's accessible. In addition, we finally added support to the personalization and layouts. So each user now can decide which tile he can see in the dashboard and which to don't see there. It can change the layout of the table, of the main table, to set filters, sorts, exactly as ALV. Now it's coming to the version 2 application that we made. And the biggest benefit in my eyes is that you can take Z reports or even SAP reports such as ME2N that Avi used for the demonstration. You can take it in a few seconds, few minutes to make it to your Fiori reports very, very fast and nothing of cost. The next steps where we want to take it from here is this app is just the beginning of something big that we want to do. It's just an infrastructure for later improvements. And talking about the future, in the version to come, we plan to add more objects to the dashboard itself, such as pivot tables, maybe somehow coloring. We are planning it. We use a lot of feedbacks of the users. I will get to it in a second. In addition, we would love to add the designer mode, which means the creators will be able to edit the insight in the web app itself, in the Fiori itself. You will be able to add new columns, all the good that you have in the GUI part. You will be able to do it in the Fiori side, which will add a lot of flexibility and better UX. Of course, in the future versions, we will integrate the Zappy ability to the new app. So all the amazing features that Avi Mishan just showed you in the GUI, we would like to add it to the new app, to the version 2 app. And that's all for now. We really love to hear your feedbacks. It's giving a lot of ideas and gives a lot of huge impact to the way the next versions will look like. Thank you, Tal. Mishan, and go to you.
Thank you very much, Avi. And now Mishan will demonstrate what it looks like in an SAP environment.
So let me take you with me for a moment on a journey through time, okay? We are going back 10 years. The first rainbows appear on the market. We took the standard report and we uplifted to a whole different level, including graphs, grouping, and much more. Okay. Yes, it's a different league compared to typical developments, but it's still sub GUI, right? So 5 years later on, what happened? Suddenly, every such creation can be presented as a Fiori application. It might seem a bit rigid, but it's the real deal, okay? Any ABAP report can be displayed as a Fiori application with no code in seconds directly in the production system, okay? And yes, there were upgrades. We brought buttons, okay? We enabled the input fields. We even crafted dynamic selection screens, okay? But today, allow me to take you to version 2, to V2. So the first thing you notice is the look and feel. It looks like a dashboard, right? Take a minute to feel the new look. Okay. This still in this screen, everything is a tile, graphs, grouping, and even the data, right? And now we can do whatever we would like to do. Okay, we can remove, can hide slides. We can move them around. We can add them. We can stretch them. Okay. Not only that, we added support for KPIs. This is something new. We added navigation through groups from a card, and we even added the display of the data, again, here as a tile, right? And everything we do could be saved as a new layout. Okay. And that means that the users can create their own personal world and save them like this. Still, those that like to use the table can enjoy it as well. And again, even now, we're using a better control, a table control. Okay, you can change things. The variables are here on an upper tray. In short, this is truly a major step forward into a flexible world of web where you, as customers, need to do little to nothing. Thank you.
Thank you, Avi. So the third development is enhanced toolbar function. I will ask Shai to guide us through this new nice feature and to demonstrate that. Please, Shai. You're on mute, Shai.
Sorry again. Thank you again, Tal. Before we dive deeper into toolbar functions, I will first zoom out and look at the Insight Creator solution from a bird's eye. So what do we have in the Insight Creator? The first thing we have is the layer of the adding content, where we can add new columns, variables, and any other data. The second layer is the visualization, where we can display the same data, but in different display options. It includes grouping, pivot tables, charts, and much more. The last one is the manipulate. That is the step where we go just behind viewing data and we can even manipulate the data, update it, and even execute custom business logic on it. This is where the toolbar functions come into play. Click. So in the previous releases, we focused mainly on the developer side, we wanted to make it much easier and simpler. And most of you already know right now, creating a new Insight function is as simple as creating a test data for function model and just save it. In about 5 minutes, you can create a new Insight function in your system. That's what happened in the previous releases, but in this release, we again, like always, we listen to your feedback to our customers, and in this time we focus on the end user experience. We focus on two main things. The first one is direct feedback. That means that we want to add the user the ability to see clear and fast way what happened, how and where. The second thing, we want to add some actionable results to be able to add the user the ability to see what object was changed or created at the same screen without need to navigate to anywhere else. By the way, one of those feedback arrived from one of our existing customers who used so far WindShuttle for the migration processes. They asked us if they can use Insight Zap to replace it because it was a little too complex and too expensive for their system. And I'm happy to tell you that at the end of after about 2 or 3 months since they begin to do it, they will be able to replace it exclusively with Insight Zap. That means that all their migration processes are now being done only with Insight Zap. So let's see how those improvements were translated into real life. So the first thing we done, we added a new column of status in the report. So that means that now in any report that you have an Insight Toolbar function, it includes also 2 new columns. The first one is the status, which displays whether the action was a success, warning, or error. And aside for it, it has the message from the log with quick navigation to the complete log. The second part is the export fields, we added the ability to add also export fields and not only import fields to Insight function. That means that when the user executes the action, he is able to see in a new column what object was affected or created. For example, when we use create material document, in the new column, we will be able to see the material document number. Of course, that this action is also supported in the generate from function call wizard. And again, although in my scenario, I'll talk about creation of objects and displaying them, this opens a completely new functionality of updating and changing any data you wish directly from an Insight function. And again, I will forward it to Avi Mishan to demonstrate this new feature.
Thank you, Shai.
So in the next 5 minutes or so, I want to build from start to finish a full-fledged Excel interface with you guys, okay? Let's start with a standard BAPI for creating equipments. So I've saved some very basic test data here. It contains the description of the equipment, the category to which this equipment belongs to, machine in this case, and a date. Okay, let me invoke it quickly. And here it is. This is the equipment number. Of course, nothing was actually created in the system since I didn't perform a commit, but that's not important for a demo. Let me jump into the creator and to the area of the toolbar functions, or in other words, buttons, and we will build our new button. So I'm using a search string to filter out my other buttons. Let me create my new button. Let me give it a name. I will give it a description, quick info, and refresh button. That's it. I'm saving it. And now I'm going to implement the body. I'm doing nothing but that. I'm not writing a line of code. All right. And now let's move on to building the button based on the test data. Okay, so I'm pressing this button. Let me call our Zappy. Let me pick the selection, the test data, and as we used to, we can see the input fields. Okay, so these are the input fields: the description, the category, and the date. However, now you can see a whole new world of output exporting. So I will mark those 3 fields and I will add the equipment as exporting. I will generate the code and I will compile it. And I will go back. And if I will get out and get in yet again, we will be able to see that the fields were declared, the 3 input fields: description, category, and the date, along with the equipment number, which was marked as exporting. Okay, so let's build a creation based on this new button. Okay, I'm not basing it on transaction on snapshot. I'm using the function. Okay, and when I will invoke it, I'm expecting to get my 3 input fields: description, equipment, and date, a category and date, along with the output. I prepared some Excel data. Okay. And as you can see, I intentionally used a category 4, which does not exist, along with a date in the future, which is not allowed here either. Let me mark the entire thing, and I will call the Zappy. And there you go. I'm getting the log. So this is the new thing. To the left, you can see the new 2 fields, the status fields. So we see that we have green icons over here along with the text and the error message over here. To the right, in case the equipment was created, I'm getting the number, and obviously I can navigate to this one. So if I'd like to see the problem, I can just double click this record and I will see exactly the problem I'm facing in this specific record. And if you would like to fix one of the issues, let's take vehicles. Okay, I will mark this record and I will apply the toolbar function yet again. And we have a new equipment created of type vehicles. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Avi. Needless to say, we just upgraded your Insight Zap with some wind shuttle capabilities. So feel free to use it and enjoy it. So like we mentioned before, we have our method of 3, 8, 200. So I'll save you from the 200, but Shai, could you please take us through the 8?
Thanks again. This time I'm not on mute. So we just covered the 3 major features of this release, but again, there is much more under the hood. This is a short, not short, the list of the 8 minor features, which again, in many other releases, those could be the major features themselves. I will review this list quite quickly. I will first start with a short demonstration with the first 3 features, and then I will review all the rest quietly. So here it is, an Insight Curator report I prepared in advance. So the first main feature here is a new column. The input column now has the ability to set value lists directly in the column itself. As you can see here, there's a new checkbox, value list. It allows you to maintain the list of values you want add for this specific column. In this example, I just added a status column with 3 values, delayed, in process, on time, and I did it directly in the input column. That means I don't need anymore to create data element. I don't need any preceding development phase. I can do it just directly in the input column itself. If you will confirm it and go back to the report, I will show you how it looks. Basically, it looks like any other input column you're familiar with. It is the same one. You can choose it in a drop-down, you can use even the fast input, search up, anything you're familiar with works the same, but this time the value list is local. The second feature, which some of you might already notice during Avi's demo, was the new KPI. What we did in this release, we expanded the existing KPI that some of you might already be familiar with in the grouping, and we expanded them into the general report scope. So now we have KPIs in the report. We can set them and set any numeric KPI we wish. Either it's the total net price, the number of open POs, and anything like this. And when we set them, we have now a complete new view. Here on the left, this is the KPI view. I can choose it here from the view perspective. You see this new KPI. And I can play with it. I can remove some KPIs. Let's say I don't want those two. And I want to add this back here and play with it. And again, when I'll save this ALV layout, those set of KPIs will be saved as part of the ALV layout. The third feature I will show you today is the str aggregation function. This is a new aggregation function which was all added to all the aggregative options we have. In this demo, I will show it in DB lookup column, but it may be used in any other aggregation function. So what this new aggregation function does, first let me show it. Right here, it is just a new aggregation function. What it does, it allows you to select a list of values into one single cell. So this is the first time we actually allow to display and set multiple values for one single field. In this case, what I did, I wanted to select the maintained plans for a specific material. So I set the table Marcy and set the material. And now what I got in response was one single field that included the list of all the maintained plans for this material. This finished the first features, and now I'll review quickly the others. In short, is the formula column. Basically, this is quite a technical improvement. It allows you now to edit the data element of formula column. Although it's technical, I'm sure that most of you will be happy from it and use it widely, because now you don't, in case you add some error or need to change anything in a formula column, you don't need anymore to delete and create a new column. You can just enter it and change the data element. Next is the log. We added the capabilities to navigate quickly from the log into the row or the selected cell directly from the log. Last in this list of the Insight Creator is the new data elements in the time area. We added year, week, and year, quarter data elements. Those includes both input for quick input, and even in charts, we added them into the time axis chart so you can use them for your requirements. Now we'll go to the publisher. In the publisher, we added two main features. The first one is the Boolean output format. As all of you know, in SAP, the standard format for Boolean is X and space, but now we added the native Boolean format for each and every file format. That means that, for example, when you export the file into an Excel, you get the true false, and when you export it to an HTML, you get a checkbox and not just an X and space. Last in this list is the long text. When you distribute an Insight Creator variant with long text columns, you now have the ability to export the old data, the long text completely, and not just the truncated 255 characters. This is the end of this list, but there are much, much more we haven't been able to cover in this session. All of them, of course, are being mentioned in the release notes. By the way, this is a good point to mention our bucket list. Right now, we have more than 500 topics and improvement requests waiting in our bucket list. As you can see on your left, there is a long list of subjects, topics, categories we divide them into, and this is where you are important because we get your feedback, and according to it, we act and edit it to the next release. And last, we have a short highlight of the support on the latest release, which means the last half year. In this release, we got 276 tickets. Again, many of them, almost half of them, were questions, which is a good reminder to you that you should be more than welcome to ask questions and not that raise issues about the software. Again, the tickets were open, but most of our customers, which is great, and we had an average response time of less than 10 hours, which, to be honest, is quite amazing, at least in my opinion. Again, from those tickets you opened, already in this release, 35 bug fixes and many other improvements were added as a result of your feedback. So again, we highly recommend and request you to work with us and open tickets in the support. And now I will forward it to Dan Shkerk, which is our CMO, and we will talk about new things in our area.
So thank you, Shai. Hi, everyone. I'd like to take a moment and talk about the fresh new look and feel of Insight Zap. Alongside the launch of version 6, we've gone through a full rebranding. So a new design, updated color palette, and redesigned icons, and clearer names for each and every one of the platform's core utilities. Viewer, creator, and publisher now have distinct, intuitive identities that make the experience more focused and a lot more user-friendly. We're also getting ready to launch a brand new resource center. It's going to be a simple, accessible place where you'll find tutorials, quick guides, videos, everything you need to get so you can get the most out of Insight Zap. And if you haven't already, please do check out our new website at www.dpro.pro. It's where you'll find product info, customer stories, practical use cases, and a lot more. And of course, follow us on LinkedIn to stay updated and be the first to hear about what's next. So thank you, everyone.
Dan, thank you very much. Guys, thank you for being with us up until that point. So this is the time for questions. Anything that you wanted to know or wanted to ask before?
Now feel free to ask any questions and anything about this release.
I was just wondering, yes, thanks, Shai. I was just wondering how sensitive Zappy is to any mistakes that I would make when asking my questions, but it seemed pretty robust when I saw Mishan adding a few typos in there, here and there, and yet Zappy seemed to find his way through. Am I correct?
Yeah, you're correct. So as you know from other AI engines, the AI engines are quite smart and they know how to fix typos and even local language items. They know how to handle it very efficiently. Yeah.
So you mean that if we had SAP users that were on a French version of SAP, for example, or a German version, they would be able to rely on Zappy despite the difference in the language?
Exactly. Yeah.
Not only that, they can log on in German and French, of course, right?
Yeah.
So it all works in the tongue, in the language they are used.
Are there any more questions in the crowd?
Yeah, I had a couple also related to Zappy. So first, if you ask whether it's the Gen or Ask version of it, if you ask a ambiguous question, will it respond back to you with like kind of like follow-up questions to better determine what you're actually looking for?
This is one of the reasons we divide it into two to make sure that the engine know the scope. So when you are in the Ask AI mode, you won't create any new Insight artifacts. And when you're in the designer mode, the Gen AI mode, you don't ask any queries. So that's the way we help the user to distinguish between the two modes quickly. Instead of I need to ask him every time, you need to choose the right mode for your.
Well, so for example, say we have the user using the Ask AI, and they ask a question related to something like, "What's the total cost by commodity for 2024?" But within the report, we have 5 different cost columns. Will it respond back and ask you to clarify which of the columns you actually want to summarize?
Oh, I see. Yeah. When he is not sure, it depends in the question, but if he's able to ask for another question, he will ask for it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's an ongoing chat. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then my second question was, does it, based on the number of results that's generated, does it do any truncating or will it give you full results? So, for example, if you ask like the total sales for 2024 by customer and you have hundreds of customers, will it give you the full results or will it truncate that?
It should give the full results. Again, I'm not go into depth into the solution, but how it works is basically we use the AI engine just for SQL queries. So
Mhm.
the SQL query itself is done locally in the AI server. It's a local server need to be installed. And then there isn't any reason it won't be able to scan the whole data file, the whole data table. It's not restricted like in standard external engines when you might just scan the first 100 or something like that to give you a result. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you want to share or not, but just curious what model you're using in the background.
We use OpenAI, right?
Okay. And will that update to more recent models?
This is our first step in the AIS, and we already started working on different models, different solutions, maybe even new implementation options, but this is the default initial solution right now. And I'm quite sure that in the next release already, there will be more deployment options suggested. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Robert. Any other questions?
Yes, I actually have a question which is related to the toolbar functions. I was wondering with the new user interface on that, is it possible to have a sequential automation of multiple processes?
Sure. So you basically, you mean after you created an equipment, you want to do a follow-up on that equipment, for example. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have a number of cases where we are going to have sequential processes that are going to be done one
Yeah.
step at a time.
So
I was just wondering how far we could go in the ability to replicate automatically something that could be done, for example, manually.
yeah, so it's up to you basically because the export field, the new export field can be used as an import field for the next action. So if it's a
So
first,
there are no limitations to the number of export input fields that we can add in and link.
no, no.
Thank you. Another question related to toolbar functions when it comes to tracking the error messages that we would get. What serves as a basis for those error messages? The messages that you get from SAP, or are these messages, is it possible to customize them?
Basically, those messages come from the ABAP code of the implementation of the Insight function. In default, when you generate it from a function call, is the messages returned by the function. But you can write your own ABAP code quite quickly and change it, add your own logic to it, for example, something like that.
Okay, so a message that's coming from SAP with the technical background to it, if it had no business sense to your average business user, that is something that we could change.
Yeah,
And
but
not
right
only that, Doik, you can work hybrid. You can start with a function call, and then you can go into the code, and you can replace the messages with your own. Okay, and you can do much more than like calling only one BAPI. You can concatenate a few calls in one button, and it's unlimited.
Yeah.
Thank you. One other question that I have related to changes that we would make with the logs of the changes that are made. How deep do we go in the logs? How far back? What are the contents of these logs specifically with the toolbar functions?
What changes do you mean in the SAP business objects or in the Insight Creator itself?
Yeah, we went pretty quickly on the toolbar functions earlier, but when I start doing mass changes, and I want to keep track of what has been done, how far back can I go, and how much information can I get on mass updates that have been done? Can I also add limitations to it, like not and make sure that some of my collaborators can't easily execute the toolbar function? Can you elaborate on that, please?
Yeah, so first I will try to answer the first question. I'll divide it into two. Each SCP object is using a change document mechanism. And when you execute this function, it create change. Those changes are saved in standard, in SCP standard. So it isn't agnostic to Insight Creator. Those changes are by default saved by SAP. In addition, in the Insight Creator, we have a layer of changes to the Insight Creator itself, which means you can see what designer changed what object, what and when. That's regarding changes. Regarding your second question about authorization, each and every toolbar function you have in this report is controlled by authorization. So you can choose that one user will be able to execute this function and a second user won't be able to execute this function. This is controlled by standard authorizations.
And if I decide if I wish to narrow down the authorizations, is that something that the tool offers?
What do you mean?
Or
What
not
do you
really?
mean by narrow down?
If I want to be, well, narrowing down, I want to be more restrictive than the rights that I allocated to the collaborator in SAP for the mass updates. Is that something that the tool does provide?
Yeah, again, in addition to the standard authorizations you have control on this specific toolbar function. In addition to the standard authorization, you can say that this function will be accessible only for user A and B and not for user C. That can be done.
Okay. Can I also add a rhythm, meaning that I can give him rights related to time periods and volumes of data, or is that something that I can't yet do in the toolbar function?
Not right now, but we'll be happy to hear about the requirements and maybe we'll add it in the next releases. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, we deal with a lot of mass updates, and one of the trends is that clearly when you do mass updates on a regular basis with a lot of data, you want to keep control of what's happening in SAP.
That makes sense. We will be happy to, I will take it maybe offline and we'll hear about the exact requirements and check what can be done, either now or in the future releases. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Doug, thank you very much for your questions. Anything else, guys? Ladies? Okay. I appreciate your time. I hope that you find the new development useful for your day-to-day usage. I think we have some very significant changes and updates on this version. And we look forward to supporting you and hearing your thoughts and feedback. They're all quite new, so your feedback and experience will really help us to perfect it, like just ask relevant questions. So thank you all. We'll be sharing this webinar very soon with all of you, so you can share and view it. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.